I don't know. There you are.
Ed, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, some something's happening. It just went black on me.
You must have hit something. I don't know. But welcome to the High Voltage Live podcast. I don't know what's going on with Bill tonight. He's coming to you live from Rocky Mountain High. Are you working now, brother?
I don't know. I can't see the screen. I'm gonna
You can't.
restart. I'll be right.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the High Voltage Live podcast. Um, Bill will be back on just a little bit. We're glad to have you here this evening, and we got some good stuff coming to you, and looking forward to going over all the interesting topics we have tonight. And well, I have to give it to the stars. I know, I know Adam's going to be on in a little bit, and he's probably, well, he might not even come on. He's probably upset. But anyway, the stars uh, took their uh, game or their series against the Winnipeg Jets. So now they're playing
All
Edmonton, beat
right.
them 6-3 the other day. So you working now?
Here we go. Yeah,
Would you?
it was weird. The screen just went black right when I was getting ready to do my sweet introduction, introduce the King James, and uh, talk about the old Mile High City. But no, I was really impressed how the Stars played. That was a really good game against Edmonton. Man, Edmonton looked good. They looked sharp in the beginning, but man, they just took it over and put the floor to the metal
You know,
and
it was funny because we
pedal to the
were
metal.
talking right before it. I said, "You go, oh man, I think they were down 3-0 at point or two. And I don't remember." And I said, the thing I've noticed about the Stars, I said, if they get going, I said they're so damn quick. I said, man, they scoring bunches. And then
Yeah.
I went doing other stuff, and then I looked, see, scored. And I was like, oh damn, they've already scored that many goals. I think they're already at 5. I was like, damn.
Oh yeah.
So they,
Uh oh, look who's in the house trying to get some revenge, Mr. Champion of the quiz.
well, what's it over
Oh
tonight?
man.
What's quiz over?
Uh, so it was requested by Team SOS that it was Strange Hockey Records.
Oh, shoot. They would pick hockey against me. They know I don't know crap about hockey.
Dude, we voted. I wanted to do Major League Baseball records, but they said you might know more of those. So,
Yeah, I would know better in baseball, basketball, and football. But no.
welcome in, Mister
Hey,
E,
yeah,
Electrical Wizardry in the house.
I was just go ahead and keep talking for a second because I want to finish posting this so he'll
Yeah.
see it.
It's really awesome. We got John Wade says he'll be here. Awesome. And my awesome message. Don't forget to smash that like button like it owes you some money and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. And yeah, David. Well, we have some good news on the death match. We're opening up all of the quizzes. So then we have the link that he's putting in the chat, and so we're gonna open up all the quizzes. So we're not closing them at the end of the month. We're just closing them once you've gotten them done. So I'm gonna be able to go finish. February, I think, was the last one I did. So I got a lot of catching up to do. So I'm gonna probably get busy this long weekend. Wish y'all happy Memorial Day Monday. Like I say, this is my Friday. This is awesome, man. I got a 4-day weekend. It's possible I might have to work nights if my company needs me to, but you know, it's one of those things that at least I'll be able to hang out, do the podcast, and looks like
Okay.
you know, yeah, and looks like James is going through it. There he is. There's the John Stir up in the house. What's up, John, brother?
Yeah. Let me let
Awesome.
me give an
Yo.
update here real quick. So what has happened is we've gone in and I've done a. Y'all don't really see. You'll see some things on the learning management system, but I've gone in and I've done a lot of internal stuff that y'all never see or anything. And I was telling Bill the other day, um, there's going to be a few changes that are going to be taking place. Okay. One, we're probably going to another streaming software, and I'm looking at it now, and it looks like it's going to do more of what we need. And then there's other things that I have that's built in with the streaming software, with the social media stuff and all this, and then with the SEO and all. It's a lot of stuff. You wouldn't understand a lot of stuff that we're doing, but all of it's built in. So whenever we're doing any blogs or anything, everything is built in back to the learning management system and through all these different softwares. So what I've done, I've coded some stuff and I've built it into the learning management system. So whenever we're doing like the High Voltage Live podcast, this one, I don't know what's got into StreamYard, but they've decided to go way up on their prices for some reason. I don't even know
I
why.
noticed that. Yeah, I noticed
Yeah,
that.
just all of a sudden, and they didn't really provide any of the extra features or anything like that. So I've kept it here for a while, but I've been also looking around at what else is there. And
Right.
I finally came across this one, and it's actually used as a streaming software slash Zoom meeting type software. So there's a lot
Yeah.
more functions that are actually on the screen. I mean, it does a lot more. So
Yeah, and
we'll
like we
probably,
don't want to stop anybody's like donations or
yeah, yeah, y'all keep them coming. Uh,
anything. Yeah.
but we will have all that set up, and it'll all be there. Matter of fact, if let me share the screen here so I can show everybody real quick.
So John looks like he's joined the dark side. He's over at the Union. Awesome, John. Big shout out for Guarantee Electric. Oh, that's cool, man. A good sized company, man. That's freaking awesome.
Okay, so as everybody will see when you're looking at this and you come to the main screen, we've done a few little extra things here and there on the front page and stuff. But as you're scrolling down and you get down here and you've got your courses, there's a lot of information on this thing. But right here, when you go to free, just click free down here. These are all the free items that are on there that you can go and compare all the other stuff that's out there, but still free. January, February, March, April, May. Okay.
Nice.
Here, pretty quick, you're going to see May. May will be on here. We also got the practice exam that's on there, but we will have this on by probably this weekend. We'll have May on, so all the questions will be there, and I'm going to do a thing out that I'm gonna send out for everybody about the death match and all of that. So, uh, but I'm also gonna take the death match and leave these up because one of the things this new software I'm working with and everything, there's a lot that's involved that gets into uh, things where you're dealing with like backlinks and things like this and keyword assessments. There's a lot of there's strength words, not so strong. I mean, there's a lot of things that go with it. I've been searching for the last, I guess, 5 years. I do all this. Well, now I got it all
Yeah.
built in, so it's going to have a big audience reach. So,
Yeah, so just to give everyone that doesn't know the backstory, I took King James's 2020 continuing education, and I really like the way he set up kind of little quizzes after each section. So he's going to have that ready here pretty quick for all you guys who want to take your continuing education for
mhm.
Colorado. And actually, he's going to have, what, 15 states? Or you had a lot of states on there. I can't remember how many, but it was quite a few. I know you had like Wyoming, you had Colorado, you had Arkansas was in there, I think. You had
Ah,
quite a bit.
cool, brother. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
coming. There's been a lot that's been going on, and what a lot of people don't know is everything that you see, uh, I did. It ain't like there's a
Right.
big staff or anything. I do everything. And during that time, we're also writing the code change book for 2026. And
So if there's a problem, it was Dad that did it.
Always him. But to give a good look, and I can I don't think I have it up right now. I don't. All the illustrations have been completely updated. I mean, even Dad's like, man, this looks freaking awesome. He's been doing the rough draft on the illustrations, and I get it ready, and then he's going back and he's doing the edit on it. So we're feeling all it. We're almost through the first 2 chapters, and it was almost 100 changes. So just for the first 2 chapters, and I was sitting here looking, I've probably got about another, right now, I've got pretty close to around 40 that's in chapter 3 at least, and I'm about 70% through getting those done. So I'm having a feeling that we're probably going to be looking close to 250 changes.
That's about par for what they've been doing lately.
When you go look at the other ones, they usually do 100, 125. The other code change books. Yeah. But this cycle, something everybody's going to have to be familiar with is you're going to have to start remembering they took, like in services and grounding and overcurrent protection, all the high voltage articles have been taken out. You're not.
I respect Senior. I'm just telling you who King James blames every time there's a mistake.
Well, that's what he does to me too. If there's ever a mistake, I say, "Well, Dad's the one that edited that chapter." That's his fault. Hey, mine. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. But they took all the high voltage stuff out of the part that was in for like overcurrent protection, services, grounding and bonding, and now they're new articles. So y'all are going to have to be really familiar. And what we decided to do with this is we did an illustration for each part that's in that new article. And then it's really nice looking, but we drew all new equipment and everything. And it's taken a lot more time to draw all that new stuff, but I think everybody's going to really like it because it looks more detailed than what you're going to see these cartoon looking ones they've been doing. So
yeah. I mean, they did have some good, like intentions. I know, like on the last cycle, they had like some autistic kid who was like an artist, do like all the artist parts for it. I thought that was pretty cool for IAEI. They had like really good intentions and stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Well, my understanding, talking to somebody that was telling us, I'm not going to say his name because y'all know who he was, but he told me that he thought IAI this time, what he was told is all they were going to do is just put a picture in the book for each one, that take a picture or something. So, and what he also told us, he said he didn't even think they were going to do call outs or anything. It was just going to be a picture and you'll have the text. That's it. So they're sort of hurting over there.
We're going to have some more in-depth stuff coming up, like towards July, because we're going to get a little bit closer. This whole argument, this EBSE argument, it's heating up, and I knew it was going to be crazy because the way I submitted my public input was I kind of put them in a box on that one because I'm like, all right, well, if you pass it, then that means the outlet's installed. And if you reject it, that means there never was an outlet there.
Yeah. So
they passed it, and now they're trying to say the outlet's installed. Didn't change the language or anything to say the outlet's always there. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of rectify this or what they do. I think there's been some talk on the EBSE side that they're trying to do like require automatic emergency shutoff switches or emergency shutoff disconnects. And it's going to be hard, like if you have like 2 EBs and, like I think they're trying to do it because they've had some EB fires. And I think there actually is language when you buy one of the EBs from the dealership that says don't park it in your garage. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if that's part of what's driving this. emergency shut-off thing, and I don't know if that emergency shut-off would apply to all like gas stations and all this different stuff, because I think they're trying to align it with fuel dispensing and stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting, and I could see how you really don't want to have like EV fires at like filling stations, or any kind of fires like within that hazardous location. I would almost say that those charging stations would have to be a certain distance from that class 2 or that class 1 div 2 zone location. That's the kind of stuff that we're kind of looking into to try to see if we could get some kind of correlation moving forward on what the whole driving force is behind them trying to push these. Some of them, like 62554, just blew me away. I was blown away. Like, they were confronted, code making panel 12 was confronted by a lot of these different EV people saying, hey, if these are hardwired, it's already GFCI protected. It already has personnel protection. Well, the problem is that this personnel protection is not, it's not 4 to 6 milliamps. So the eyes of code making panel 2, that's not personnel protection. It's only personnel protect. That's GFPE if it's anything above the threshold of 4 to 6 milliamps. So you try to get into a little bit of an argument there, and like I say, we're gonna kind of be covering it as we go, because we're gonna kind of try to get in the middle and see what how this is gonna pan out. I mean, I'm actually excited. I couldn't believe it. Like some of the apprentices at work were like, "What? You submitted code changes? You submitted public inputs?" And I was like, "Yeah, one of them passed. King James ain't getting none to pass." But he wanted all his to get rejected. But it was fun. It was a good time, and you get a lot of clarification. Like I got one of mine rejected, then King James went and submitted opposite. They rejected that one too. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, what was funny about that was what they said, and I said, okay, well, if that's what you think, then here you go. And then all of a sudden they didn't like that. I was like, y'all can't even make up your mind what you like and don't like. While I'm at it, I want to share a screen here real quick, because I want to show one more thing so everybody can sort of see. Let me go to Windows here. There we go. Okay. So this here is showing, let me get it where I can get it on full screen here.
I love that lighting series, and I think it's kind of cool how you guys always kept like that Gray Boy logo. So it's almost like you guys almost been a company for like almost 50 years now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we did quite a bit, but I just wanted to give everybody a little quick insight to what is there. Let me go right here. All right. So when you get in, you start looking at this. This is just some of the stuff we already done, but I just want to get after 250 here, because I want everybody to see. So what you're going to see is you have a new Article 265 that's going to deal with branch circuits. So you'll see we've got the parts here. These illustrations already drawn. Then you got 266 that's going to deal with your feeders over 1,000 volts. So then you got 267 that deals with your outside branch circuits and feeders. And then you have Article 268 that deals with your services. And there's quite a few in this one that we did. Then you got Article 270 that's going to deal with your grounding and bonding. Now,
and that's over 1,000 volts, correct?
Yeah, they've moved all of these. These are all brand new articles, and you can see that's the end of it right there. But
okay,
what we wanted to point out here was that there's quite a bit here that is going to be needing to look at, because there are quite a few changes that have taken place, and you're going to have to be aware of where everything's moved, because this is just not the end of. There's more stuff that has taken place that's been moved that we've done in previous podcasts where I've gone through and showed what had taken place. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's in the
that's
26th.
2026.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like what we're doing, David, is King James is covering the proposed 2026 changes, and he's doing so we're covering it, and he's doing his code change book at the same time. So he's just showing you how sweet his new book's gonna look when he gives me a free copy this time. And I'm just really glad that you finally decided to get even on those code changes that you gypped me on in 2020. But
Well, there's a bunch of them this time. I'll tell you, there's a lot that's going to be there. That's going to be
and he doesn't put them in the Colorado. He doesn't put all of them. He only puts what covers a certain amount.
I put 24 hours worth, like they told me.
Yeah, so just don't be surprised when all of a sudden he's advertising somewhere else and he's got more. Then you're like, where did these come from?
Well,
I didn't see those in Colorado.
You know what I'm going to do this time is when I get the approval with the states and stuff, I'm also not only going to get the course, but I'm just going to go ahead and have the PDF for you too. So
nice.
There will be a separate file right down below it that has the PDF, and it automatically you get, and you have access to it from then on.
That's what I'm doing for you guys out there. I'm making sure nobody's getting gypped on code changes ever again. So I want to address this really quick, King James. So David says he believes that personnel protection on electric vehicle EVSE, electric vehicle service equipment, is for the output of the equipment. Interestingly enough, I did investigate this. I can't remember exactly what the standard was. It was 2000 something, UL standard, whatever. It says on that special equipment that personnel protection shall be provided for the input and the output of that equipment. That's part of the standard. And I know there was talk that somebody was saying, I don't know if it was Don G, was saying that there's no standard for EVSE. That's garbage. And the thing that's funny about this is what I investigated into, I thought this was really interesting, and Bryce Nesbitt brought this up, really interesting fact. He said even the cheap Chinese knockoffs that are coming out that are not being listed and trying to dodge a lot of the stuff to be cheaper, they're copying the same personnel protection for the input and output. They're copying that standard. So they have to, because in order to even sell it, they have to comply with some parts of that standard, or their whole thing won't even work because they're copying a design that's compliant with the UL. So that's pretty interesting.
And I'll take the big reason was the reconfiguring of the layout of the code they're looking at doing, but moving they've taken a lot of the high voltage stuff and moved it into individual articles. And there's just a lot of stuff they moved this time. I don't even know why they moved a lot of it, but
there's a lot of talk about that they're doing this to try to get ready for that big change. I don't know that they can do it. It's gonna be tough, and I don't know that NFPA has experienced a big backlash yet, really, from any of this stuff that they're doing. I'm thinking 2026 they're gonna start feeling some of it. I think some of it's coming down the pipe. I mean,
my understanding was they're already getting quite a bit of backlash.
Well, from that one, yeah. I mean, you can't just put 40 chapters in there and just be like, okay, now everyone has to learn a new code. I mean, you can. It's just gonna be tough,
Well, so. And just to give another example, if you go in and you look at, it's one thing we got the new 267, 268 and all that, but you got to remember they took what was in Article 220, it's now in 120.
Yeah, that's weird to me. I don't agree with that change.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. There's a lot of stuff that's moved around, and I'm just telling everybody, y'all better make sure you get somebody that did good on their code change book, because you're going to be confused as hell if you don't know where everything went. And,
and so that's one of the big changes that I noticed with 404 is basically 404 is only going to cover heavy duty. What is it? Heavy duty service switches, or I can't remember what the formal term is, but it's basically only going to cover disconnects. So snap switches has been moved to 406, and I think that's not going to be retitled wiring devices.
Well, yeah, they took a lot of stuff that was in 404 dealing with your switches, and I think they took some stuff out of 408 too. No, not 408. I'm trying to think. There was somewhere else they took some stuff out of. But regardless of that, they took a lot of that stuff and then they created a new Article 406 that's going to deal with your wiring devices. And
well, 406 was always there as receptacles, right?
yeah, basically what that article is going to cover, it's going to cover like the rating, the type, and the installation of those wiring devices. So
outlets or receptacles.
It doesn't say anything about outlets in there. It just gets into your
Really?
receptacles and switches and stuff. If I remember right, going through looking at that, which I'll be getting to it here pretty soon, I don't think there's anything in there really about outlets. I think it's just talking about the devices itself, because the device is not an outlet.
All right, David. David says, I'm not looking forward to having to re-memorize the code.
I'm with you, brother.
And,
this cycle, what's really going to be hard, because, I go out and we do a lot of, for facilities and stuff, we do a lot of high voltage training. Well, hell, I've got to reapply myself and learn where all the new articles are and everything. And then, even when you got that, you got to tie some of that back into Article 120 now, which used to be 220. Yeah. I mean, it's something what they've done.
It's kind of funny because Tabitha asked the Lady Electrical Inspector. If you guys want to check out a really cool podcast, check out Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector. I want to give a big shout out to her because they've had some really bad storms up there. And our prayers go out to all the people that had loss from storm damage and stuff. So I hope you all stay safe and stay out of those tornadoes up there. Yeah, they had a lot of storms roll through, a lot of tornadoes and stuff, and they had a lot of storm damage. So she's doing that for her podcast this week on storm preparation and emergency electrical and stuff like that, which I think is really good. But just a big shout out to her. She's featured as the top 60 podcast, electrical podcasts on there. So she's doing really good and stuff. But yeah, like she's on 2014, and like it's funny because I remember all the arguments we were having back then with code changes from 2014 and code changes from 2017 and code changes from 2020. We've always went through and argued all these different code changes. To me, it's not so much the code change, it's so much like them pushing like this, like you have to do this now, you have to do this now, you have to do this now, and like it's making it hard. Like for example, like Utah, they like completely removed what was it, 314 20 314.27, the ceiling fan requirement. So they had a requirement, I think it's 314.27 if I'm correct, and they basically said that all ceiling boxes need to be fan rated for every room, for every bedroom. And they just thought it was overkill,
If I asked you, what code cycle do you think I started teaching? What cycle would you think it was? What year?
93.
Close, 96.
Okay.
96 when I first started.
The first code book I ever opened was a 93. and I had no clue. I was just barely cracked it. And then the first code I actually started kind of studying and looking through was 96. And then I tested under 99.
See what he said here?
Who, John?
Yeah, he said something. Let's see what he said. That's only 80% of charging cars, so that's nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of my arguments, John. That they're sitting there saying that you have to adjust the branch circuit for the EV charger, and to me, that's the manufacturer's already doing it.
Yep.
So I did one that was I wired it just like commercial. I did a 50 amp breaker with number 8 copper pipe, ran conduit on the outside of the house and piped it into the garage, and I plugged it in and everything. It says your charging rate's at 42 amps. And so why would you need to adjust that, And David's pulling rake on you, brother. He's going 84 and 86 or in 86. Oh. Wow, dude.
Now wait a minute. I said when I first started instructing. That wasn't my first code. My first code was 1981.
Okay.
I was a senior in high school, and I was going over. My dad was teaching off Ray Street, and I'd go over there and listen, because I was actually working, and I actually got extra credit for doing that in high school, and they kept a record, because they would test us what we learned and all of that. So I take it back. I was a junior. Yeah, I was an 81 junior. So my senior year, I did it my junior and senior year. And that's where Dad first started his school and everything, and taught over there about 7 years. And he taught there 4 nights a week, and every class was full with 50 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to like the death match, just like long story short, short story shorter. Basically, I like the way King James did the quizzes at the end of every little section. It was just a little 5-question quiz, and I said, you know what? That'd be really cool if we figured out a way to make your learning management system like run this test and like time you and whatever, and just make it start out easy and just get a little harder every week and stuff, or every month rather. And so we've been doing this deathmatch kind of testing for, like you said, probably the last 4 or 5 years. And we've been just trying to test run it and just see how many people could get interested in it. And it is kind of a weird niche to get people to come take a code exam like on their spare time, but there is people out there that enjoy doing it. Like, it looks like David is actually leading right now, so I'm gonna have to do my due diligence and try to see if I catch up with him somehow. But I don't know. He's always cracking hundreds, and hundreds are hard to beat every time. But anyway, we should probably run the meme of the week, and I don't even know which one you picked, so you go.
Yeah, I picked your first one.
Okay. Total dad joke for electricians.
Yeah, it is.
There was no spark, Carl. No spark.
No spark.
Yeah, so David Englehart says he started pounding nails out of high school in 1979 until he couldn't find any more nails in 86. All right. That's cool.
I'm with you, brother. We're the old parts on here.
Yeah, but we'll have to start getting going with the myth of the week, so we can let King James have his topic for once. 2 weeks.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for the participation this week. We had a great time. I'm always hitting like over 10,000 on every post. I kind of like this illustration. I think this is a really good way to kind of visualize it. So you can see that both structures are encompassing all available electrodes, and I like how it says building one. You only have that one electrode, would be a ground rod or 2 ground rods if you have to supplement from 25 ohms or less. And then going over to structure 2, how it shows that cold water pipe and the building steel, and it shows it all being sized accordingly for your made electrodes versus your not made electrodes. That's a really good illustration. I think that looks like King James's right there. I like the color on that. That's pretty cool, dude.
Well, the reason I went ahead and put these in is because that didn't give you the full thing of everything you need to look at. And
right.
The reason I'm saying this is we show you where the main building is, but you have a building 1 and then you have an existing building 2. Okay. Now, when this first come in, let me explain why we put this in here this way for you. And I'll show you here in a little bit. You'll see the one with all the different electrodes and all that. Then I'll show you where you go over with just one branch circuit. But when
is there a way that you could get access to this on your learning management system?
This is actually in the grounding book.
Okay.
So
you could get access to that. Can you put a link to your
where
people could get access to those at some point?
Yeah, I'll do that. But what I wanted to point out here is when you look at 25032A, it talks about the grounding electrode system and grounding electrode conductors, and it just tells you where you have buildings or structures supplied by feeders or branch circuits, you shall have a grounding electrode system and grounding electrode conductor installed in accordance with Part 3, Article 250, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, this is where you got to pay attention because this is where you get into your grounded systems, and this is where they're talking about supplied by a feeder or branch circuit, and it's basically allowing you to do a couple of things here, okay? And that's why I put the text up here because I want everybody to see this because this is your basic where you're going to size equipment grounding conductor going over there for 250.118, and then it says or for the type of equipment grounding conductor you're going to run. Then when you get into sizing, it tells you go to table 251.22. Now, when you come over here and look at the exception 1, this is where you're going to get into the existing building and stuff I'm talking about. And I'm going to come back to this in just a second. Now, when you look at this, they're showing building 1. I'm going over there, and you're going to see that we're telling you here that the neutral bar is isolated.
Yeah, so you're welcome, John.
You got building number 1. There's a neutral bar isolated, and then you got your equipment grounding conductor going over there, and you're bonding everything in at that point. Now, if I look at building 2 existing, this is an existing installation. Now, when this first come in the code, this used to be 250.32 B1 and B2. B1 was where you would look at building 1, and then building 2 is where you would look at B2. Now it's an exception 1, and basically you're going over there, and you'll notice we're not showing an equipment ground going over there. There's a neutral, okay? And now if you look right here, it talks about for installations in compliance with previous edition of this code that permitted such connection, the grounded conductor run with a supply of the building or structure shall be permitted to serve as what? The ground fault return path if all the following requirements are met. And then they give you these requirements here that you have to follow. But the main thing is right after that, it gets in, talks about the grounded conductor, and whichever is the largest between the neutral conductor and the equipment ground, that will be the size. Okay?
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to pull this out right here, is because you're coming over here and we're setting this grounded neutral conductor over here. We would size what the equipment grounding conductor size would be, and whichever is the largest between the two, that's the size that neutral would have to be. And then, of course, you look at 250.32A, it says that building or structure has to be what? Grounded in. You've got to provide a grounding electrode system. And that's where you get into here. And you'll see we took the same illustration. All we did was tie it in and show all the different electrodes you could use and everything that are at either of those buildings there. And here's the sections and everything to go tie everything in. So
so I thought this was an interesting thing, because what we ran into here in Colorado is a lot of times the inspectors will require you to drive 2 ground rods 6 foot or more apart from each other. And the reason they're doing that is based on 250, 53 supplemental. So you're supplementing that rod. And that's because that single rod would be not proven to be less than 25 ohms resistance. And so what I've talked to King James about before, we've actually ran into this before when we have engineered prints. They show 2 ground rods and a Uper.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to force you to have all available means, but in all actuality, the engineering of it, all you need is that Uper. So you could just run a single Uper to all those buildings if that's the only thing you have. You don't have to supplement water. So
sure. And
I thought that was interesting.
The other thing I wanted to point out here, when you're looking at this and this exception 1, I want everybody to pay attention to 2 right there. It says there are no continuous metallic paths bonded to the grounding electrode system in each building or structure involved. So you'll notice when we come in here, we're showing that we're running PVC to each one. That way there's no metallic parts between the 2.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, what's up, Spencer, dude? Awesome. Thanks for joining, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate it. And like I say, we love it when we see like these apprentices come in, and some of this stuff might be over your head, but you can always post like questions or whatever in the comments on anything you want. And you could always hit me up on Facebook under Nat King Code. All you have to type in is Google me 123 and my page pops up. And like I say, you could direct message me any question you want. I've always answered questions. Always, if I don't know, I know who to ask. It's King James.
Yeah.
But
now, look at this 32A. Now look what it says. And I remember when you brought this up, I was telling you about this. I said, it says a grounding electrode system and grounding electrode conductor shall not be required if only a single branch circuit, including a multi-wire branch circuit, supplies the building or structure, and the branch circuit includes an equipment grounding conductor for grounding the parts, blah, blah, blah. So we made sure we went through the first 2, and then we showed you here where you're going over there and you don't need a grounding electrode system for that.
Right.
Okay.
Because
so
that's part of the exception.
Looking at this and looking at what the myth was, a grounding electrode must at every separate building structure supplied by from a feeder and main circuit. Yes, that's true. If it's a branch circuit, it's a single branch circuit, you don't have to. Yep.
So myth is confirmed. And like what I like to do about the myths too is I like to make sure that I cover it in a way so that in order for it to be false, I would have to say feeders and branch circuits. Then,
right.
You know, but yeah, it's awesome. We love getting new people up in here. It's so much fun. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. And you know, like I say, finally, after all this time, King James finally gets to do his topic of the week again.
About damn time. I've been the last 2 weeks. Both the myths that you did, it took a lot of explaining. I mean, we were at an hour like that, man. I was like, I'm not going to be on here no 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I would not want to cut him short again.
That's okay. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, let's run topic, folks. where we're at on this one, we've now gotten all the way to the ninth part, the second draft of the 2026 NEC changes. And I'm trying to cover as many as I can, but I figure by the time we get into right July, August, right there, right before the code's coming out, I think I would have covered every one of these at that point.
So I just want to give a big disclaimer out there. These are actually, especially for guys like Spencer's apprentice, and he's really trying to learn and stuff like that. These, just to educate people, these are not set in stone yet. A lot of these are getting voted on. A lot of these, even though it seems like they passed, there still could change, and they still might still be rejected through like a NITMAM. So we're in this part of the process where this is like if the code was 100% published today, and it's not necessarily set in stone. So I just want to give that big disclaimer. Everyone always constantly like, hey, that's not done yet. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I just want to make sure I let everyone know that this is proposed changes that are going to happen. And
sure. And I would say probably what we're showing here, about 95% of it won't change. There may be a 5% of it that may.
Yeah.
I've done cycles where maybe only 0.5% change, and I've had others where 3% change. But safe to say about 95% of this, it's going to change. And another thing that's going to be pretty cool, when we go to the new streaming software here soon, if anybody just wants to come on, I will have it set up where we can actually send links and stuff that you can actually come on, and I can put up to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I can go up to 100 people on it. So it's going to be a big change. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
I think it'd be cool to have a call-in kind of thing, and you could ask any question you want.
Sure. Now, this is just like looking at, it used to just be 230.95. Well, now they got A that deals with AC systems. Now they put a new one in, 230.95B. So they just added a new subsection. And this was just to help clarify that ground fault protection of equipment shall be provided for solidly grounded DC electrical services of more than 150 volts to ground, but not exceeding 1,500 volts DC line to line for each service disconnect that's rated 1,000 amps or more.
Right.
Okay. So just something, just sort of clarifying that it needs it too. And then they did some things here on the locally restricted access adjustable trip circuit breakers. And they made this revision to help clarify to the applicability of the local restricted access adjustable trip circuit breakers, and they're telling you that they cannot be adjusted remotely to modify the current setting. That's basically what they did. Okay. So it's just clarify, and what that's doing, that's tying in with NFPA 730, which is your guide for your premise security, and also telecommunications physical network security standard. All right.
So on 240.6, was a 10 amp overcurrent device always in there, or was that a change?
No, that was a change that was added in 2023.
Gotcha.
And they did a lot of that changing over in 240.4s where they added all that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, the other thing they did here, this is not like a big thing, but it's to help people that don't know the difference. But they added a new section to clarify the types of overcurrent protection devices that are used and permitted for protecting branch circuits, feeders, service conductors, and equipment. And you'll see just stuff you're used to seeing out there. But some of them might not know the type of classes that are there, might not know much about Edison base and things like that, or might not know about the solid state or the solid state hybrid circuit breakers. Those are all here. The ones most are always familiar with are the molded case circuit breakers or the low voltage power circuit breakers. But they put this in here to list all the different types of overcurrent devices that are permitted for protected the branch circuit feeder services and equipment.
Yeah, so I think the reason they had to do that was because a lot of times you'll be using the wrong type as a tested pair, and especially when you're doing that up, over, and down method, you want to make sure that you have your tested pair overcurrent device so you're selectively coordinated and you know
Sure.
don't run into problems there.
And you look here, they just tied this in just like we were looking at 230.95. And this is where you get in your overcurrent protection devices. I'm sorry, not your overcurrent, but your ground fault protection of equipment, like we looked at 230.95. They added, you got A now you got B. And this is where you're dealing with the DC electrical systems together. So what we're doing, we're taking these back and forth between each other and making sure they added all these sections that actually go together. So basically, you'll see it also. We did this a while back. Remember, we did it for feeders. They had the same thing for feeders. So you'll have all of these going back and forth, but we're making sure that we put all three of the sections in each one of the illustrations for you to go see that there's three different spots for this.
Right.
Okay. Now, this one is a new exception. And this is where they're talking about your overcurrent protection devices and talking about them not being located in bathrooms. Well, they put an exception here to clarify that where you have the overcurrent protection device, that it's permitted to be installed where it's an existing panel boards that were installed with previous editions of the National Electrical Code that actually permitted those overcurrent protection devices to be installed in bathrooms. Gotcha. So they're just giving clarification, just like we looked at the one that we did for the myth of the week. If it's an older installation where they took the neutral over and used it as equipment ground, this is sort of the same premises. Okay?
Yeah, and the other thing too is what you're going to be looking at is a 90.2b where it says that if it was compliant under an existing installation, then it's compliant under the current installation.
That's correct. Now, this is where we're getting in to these overcurrent protection devices, and they're not rated over 15,000 volts. And what they did, they added this exception out. The reason they added it was to help the authority having jurisdiction, or anybody that's really involved with the overcurrent protection devices here. But basically, the reason they put this in was to help them in approving equipment in accordance with 110.2 and 110.3. Okay? Now, when you get in and you look at this, some will be like, well, what is Article 240.42? This is where you're dealing with your over voltage protection. Okay? And where you have over voltage protection devices. So when you go over there and you look at that, they got part one that's your general, but when you get to part two, that's where they get in and they're talking about the surge protection devices that are permanently installed for your premise wiring systems. And then part three will cover the surge arresters that are permanently installed on the premise wiring systems. Okay. So you got to know that this is dealing with this over voltage, and this is where we're getting with these overcurrent protection devices that are not over 15 volts and that are rated over 15,000 volts. But they're telling you here, when you're looking at the dates here, you're going to notice if it's over 15,000 volts, it becomes effective January 1st, 2032. But if it's less than 15,000 volts, it's January 1st, 2029.
That's weird.
Okay? Yeah. But that's why I go through these.
Okay.
Then they get in and you're getting in the overload protection, all that. But this is where you have adjustable relays and trip units. And basically they're just trying to tell you that, yes, you got these relays and trip units that are adjustable, but it's important for anybody that's using the code or using these type of units, that they know that there's documentation of the settings that they have to be available to those that are, I say it says authorized, but most people are going to be qualified, that are to design, install, operate, or inspect the installation. And this is based on the authority having jurisdiction. If they request this information, you got to have documentation for this. Okay. Now that gets us into grounding, and all they did here, and I actually sort of like this because they added two items here. They added bonding jumper, and then they said grounding and bonding terminations. But basically what they did is they just made a revision to clarify what the intent was of the different terminations that are permitted to be used here. Okay. And this gets into your connection of your grounding and bonding equipment. Now, this one, they made a revision here. Now, the main revision, they did a couple of things up in the main hand, but really C2 is where we're looking at this. And this is where they're getting into the splices, where they're dealing with the grounding electrode conductor installation. So they made a revision to help clarify that the splicing of those grounding electrode conductors, they're with listed and grounding bonding equipment to be used where the splice is made at an accessible location. Okay.
Right.
And then they just tell you that you can do the splicing, and it can be done by what? You can use exothermic welding process or irreversible compression type connectors. Those are still permitted for accessible or non-accessible locations.
Right.
Okay? Now that's something that we wrote in there to explain that. That was our little extra that we wrote in there. We wanted you to know that that can still be used because those are permitted for accessible or non-accessible locations.
Right.
Okay. Just extra information that we like to add.
I actually like this one, actually.
Yeah. Now, what they did, this is where they basically what they did. They added non-metallic enclosures up top. Is basically what they did, and then they went in and they did a little bit of text change here. And what this is to help do is provide additional guidance for the installation of metal raceways into what? Non-metallic boxes or enclosures that are actually, being used in the field. So they just wanted to make sure that the metal wiring methods are used in non-metallic boxes or enclosures, and all of that gets tied in and installed in accordance with 250.109B. Okay, right. Which is just right below that section. So here it is. So they tell you what do you have to do here. They tell you that the metal wiring methods installed in non-metallic boxes and enclosures, and then you go in to one here and it talks about bonding, then it talks about listed non-metallic boxes or enclosures, then it talks about the metal wiring methods used with non-metallic boxes and enclosures. And basically it's talking about bonding and everything, and making sure that you have a method, connection, or fitting to ensure continuity of the metal wiring method and effective ground fault current pass. That's what you're really getting into here. Okay.
Yeah, and I really pushed hard for that change in 2020, just for the fact, one of the weird anomalies that I noticed is I was installing this GE panel that was just massive. This thing was probably 7-8 foot tall. Mm-hmm. And they give you 4 little dinky ground bars that are mounted in all 4 corners of the enclosure. Mm-hmm. Well, here's all these guys, and it was funny because even Tabitha from Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector was like, yeah, you have to have a wire type bonding to each one of those bars, because you're not allowed to use that enclosure as a equipment ground path.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's weird, because why do they give you these little teeny ground bars with like 4 slots, Mm-hmm. And they put them in all 4 corners? It's like an 84 circuit panel.
Yeah.
And So I kind of reached out to like GE and like the different manufacturers, and then next thing you know, here comes 250 109. So I was really glad that got passed, because that would make it to where all you have to do is bring your, let's just say it's a 1/0. So all you'd have to do is bring your 1/0 up, run it to like an add-a-lug to one of those lugs, and then you could put ground bars anywhere you want in that panel, and those ground bars are considered to be the equipment ground path.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things on this also, there's an exception. I'm not going to go with that, but the one you really want to look at is 2, where it deals with metal covers. It says metal and covers installed on non-metallic enclosures shall be connected to the equipment grounding conductor or integral bonding.
Yeah.
So a lot of people won't realize that metal cover is still metal. It's got to be bonded in.
Yeah,
So,
and where we run into this a lot of people don't realize it. So like if you run like an MC cable into a non-metallic enclosure, you have to have a bond bushing, because it says that connector must be bonded to the enclosure, and a lot of people think it's weird that you have to have a bond bushing on a plastic box, but that's the only way to ensure that jacket connects to the equipment grounding conductor.
Sure. And that's it for tonight as far as dealing with the code changes.
Awesome, brother. Well, appreciate it, man. Like I say. What? Is that Adam? Did Adam just show up?
Hello.
Oh, man, it's Adam!
Hey, Adam.
Misa here.
Hey, Adam. How you feeling?
Pretty. It took me a second. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Fair enough.
Dude, I commented pimp down, and next thing you know, you just like rage quit the stream. So, I'm surprised your office chair is still hanging in there. I'm surprised. It's
Me too.
You had like some crazy balls in there.
Yeah, I pretty much abuse this chair at this point.
I'm ashamed of Bill tonight. He was supposed to play the Star song. He did when they beat Colorado. He didn't do it tonight. He's still sulking over there. I was like, I tried to tell y'all, Stars, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. We're going to be drinking from the cup over here.
Oh, boy. I guess we'll see and find out, yeah.
Dude,
I didn't even nothing about hockey.
I didn't even finish the last stream on your Oilers one. Like they were up like 3-1. I was talking to King James. I'm like, yeah, dude, Oilers are up 3-1. And then I got off the phone with him. I started doing some other stuff because I had to write the podcast for tonight. And I started doing all that. And then next thing you know, I look and they freaking won.
Yeah,
the Stars won. I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't want to see what the office chair looked like after that one.
I know it was destroyed. Yeah,
I told him. I said, when he was saying, it's all right. I said, the thing about the Stars. I said, they can, them guys. I said, they're so damn quick. I said, they could put up 3-4 goals in no time, and it'd be damn if they didn't.
Yeah, they did it. Well, I guess we'll see how they do tomorrow. I guess.
Oh, dude, look at Daniel, man. He was today years old when James became the biggest Stars fan in Texas. Knew it was coming.
Oh my gosh,
Daniel, I'm gonna star that for our stream, man. I'm pinning that for the top here. But I appreciate it. So thanks for showing up, Adam. Appreciate it. And like I say, we're gonna get rolling with the Willie Quiz.
Here we go.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and Daniel makes a good point, man. Like all of a sudden, really strange. Like almost kind of like how the Cowboys fans are always jumping on that bandwagon.
Hey, I
Oof.
will admit, I don't. I've said how many times I don't know crap about hockey hardly. I mean, it took me a while to figure out what the hell you mean he's offsides. I didn't know what checking was or anything. I learned more just listening to y'all talk on the podcast. But they are from the Dallas area, so I gotta support them. So
Yeah, I do appreciate you picking the topic, Adam, but I do feel it was driven to what we could get King James on. All right,
yeah, here we
so
go.
question number 1. Which NHL player holds the record for the most regular season games played in a single season? Was it A, Wayne Gretzky? Was it B, Ray Shepard? Was it C, Jimmy Carlson? Was it D, who was that? Bernie Nichols? Or was it E, Phil Kessel? Good luck, everyone.
Well, I'm gonna guess this includes playoffs too, right?
No, it's just regular season.
Oh, regular. I thought they all played the same. I guess somebody could have got hurt too. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, like this is what player played more than 82 games. So they only play 82 regular season games, but there could have been a player that played more than that.
Wonder how he did that.
Oh, Spencer's going D. Bernie Nichols. Ooh, that's a good one. So what happens is the player gets traded, and so they get traded to another team that has more games in hand.
Okay.
So, Daniel's going C. Jimmy Carson. Oh, dude, Cesar, welcome in, Cesar. He's going B.
Hey,
Ray
Cesar, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, his little Dallas buddies up in the house.
I don't know much. I don't know any of them names but one, right? Wayne Gretzky. So I'll go with him. That's the only name I know on there.
Ooh, we have a multitude of answers up in the chat.
I'll copy Daniel. Go see Jimmy Carson.
Oh, man. I can't believe you guys, man. Oh. And Daniel and Adam get the correct answer. It is C. So they score first goal of the night, and that is correct. So he ended up playing 86 games because he got traded to the LA Kings, and they had like 3 games in hand. So he'd already played more games at Chicago, and then got traded to the Kings, and then played more games with the Kings. So he actually set a weird hockey record that day. All right. So question number 2. What is the longest uninterrupted stretch of play without a whistle in the NHL history? Is it A, 9 minutes and 12 seconds? Is it B, 13 minutes, 45 seconds? Is it C, 15 minutes, 30 seconds? Is it D, 11 minutes, 50 seconds? Or is it E, 12 minutes and 34 seconds? Good luck, everyone.
Now, I'm just going to ask this question because I don't know if I'm right or not, but I remember when Dallas won the Stanley Cup, they were in overtime. And was that when it was the longest stretch? I remember the guys it was in overtime, they were freaking exhausted out there. And I think nobody was skating fast or nothing. And there were no penalties or nothing. They were just sort of going back and forth because everybody was freaking wore out. Was that when it happened?
I'm not sure exactly, but I don't think so. Like, that was like, I think if I remember correctly, like only about 7 minutes or something like that.
Okay, I just remember they were just I mean, finally there was a timeout they took, and everybody's over catching their breath.
Yeah, I remember that was a long one. So it looks like Cesar is going B, 13 minutes 45 seconds. Daniel is taking C, 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Looks like Spencer. And let's see. Oh yeah, cool, dude. Yeah, he'll be back. All right. He's going D, so he's going 11 minutes 50 seconds. So we have a whole plethora of answers. I would imagine that.
I have no freaking idea. I'll go with E. I'll be different.
E, 12. Adam's probably gonna copy Daniel. What are you thinking?
I'm either gonna go with B or C. I want to say I'll go. I'm gonna go with B. 13 minutes and 45 seconds.
All right, so you're gonna copy Cesar Blanco, and you guys are correct. It was B. So awesome. So we have 2 correct answers for Adam so far. He's just killing it. All right. Question number 3. Which NHL player has accumulated the most penalty minutes in a single period? And this I kind of got messed up, but we I have Dave Tiger Williams on there twice, but so there's really like no reason that it just got messed up. B, Donald Brashear. C, Jason Spezza. D, Ty Domi. Good luck, everyone. Ooh, Caesar comes right out the gate with a good one. Jason Spezza. Ooh, that's a good one, man. He was a brawler, man. He was always in the penalty box.
I have no freaking idea.
I know Spezza. I remember hearing about one that was like 35 minutes.
I'll go with the cool name. I'll go with the Tiger.
Tiger. There might have been a reason I did that on purpose.
I've never heard of any of these guys.
All right. Daniel goes with B. Donald Brashear. Oh, he was a brawler too, man. Donald Brashear. Yeah, he was a basher. All those dudes are like Ty Domi's like totally feared.
I have no freaking clue who any of those guys are.
So
I'm gonna copy King James's option. Dave Tiger.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Adam is correct by copying King James. I knew I was going to give it away by accidentally messing it up, but I'd already sent it when I realized it, and I was like, oh well. I was like, I'll give him a free one.
I can't even believe I got one of these right.
Yeah. All right. Question number 4. Who holds the record for the fastest goal in a Stanley Cup final game? And under what unique circumstance was it scored? Was it A, Glenn Anderson in a game that was canceled? Was it B, Michael Frolik in the 1-0 game? Was it C, Jason Spezza during a penalty kill? Was it D, Patrick Kane in overtime? Or was it E, Sid Smith on the opening faceoff? Good luck, everyone.
Okay. So the fastest goal in a Stanley Cup final game. Well, it couldn't have been in overtime. And it wouldn't be during the penalty kills. You got
well,
to
it could
play
have
to have a
been.
penalty kill.
It could have been scored like right when overtime started.
Well, that
So,
wouldn't be the fastest goal in Stanley Cup final game because they had
Well,
to
yeah.
play 3 periods before. Isn't it 3 periods?
Yeah.
3 periods.
Yeah, but if it was 0-0 and they went into overtime, then and they scored the goal in like 8 seconds, then it would be the fastest goal in history.
It seemed to
So-
me that
Even if it was 1-1 and they scored the 2 goals at the end of the period, then they went to overtime and they scored the winning goal in 2 seconds. That's the fastest goal in history.
oh,
So it could 100%. Cesar Blanco's going Sid
See-
Smith with the opening faceoff.
that's what I
That's
was
a good
thinking.
one.
That's the opening face-off. You score right away at opening face-off. That makes sense. A game that was canceled.
Daniel's going A.
I'll go with the E.
Alex Burrows versus the Bruins. Yeah, dude, I forgot about that one. That was pretty quick too.
I'll go with E. That sounds. I don't know much about hockey, but I know you got a face-off at center ice and who gets control of the puck. You know that I know about it. So I'll
Yeah.
go with E. It sounds legit to me.
I'm going to copy Daniel A. Greg Anderson, and the game was canceled.
All right, we have a drum roll, and Adam has the only perfect 4 correct answers tonight. Man, he's on fire.
I had
That
no
is
freaking
incredible.
clue about any of this. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Like, Adam's on fire. Man, he's really going. That's incredible. All right, question number 5. As of April 6, 2025, who became the NHL's 3rd place all-time leading goal scorer? Was it A, Sidney Crosby? Was it B, Connor McDavid? Was it C, Alex Ovechkin? Was it D, Austin Matthews? Or was it E, Gordie Howe? Good luck, everyone.
Okay, well, I guess I can eliminate Gordie Howe because he was an older guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Now, from what
Yeah,
I
he
remember.
was up there. So
Yeah, but
Cesar's
as of-
taking. Oh, Cesar's taking Gordy. Ooh, your buddy's going against you on that
Oh,
one.
it's not who's. Wait.
So
As of
all
April-
time. So the ranks changed a little bit.
So somebody
and-
moved ahead.
Yeah, somebody moved up.
Okay. Okay, I see. What you're saying.
Looks like Daniel is going Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin actually became number 1.
I don't know any of those up there except for Gordie Howe. I've heard of him.
Oh, dude, now Weedman thinks I'm like trying to be a hockey player or something. Here comes our local troll, Adam. Oh, that's pretty funny.
Jeremy
Yeah,
That's
Lee.
because you couldn't hack it, Mikey.
Oh, Weedman. Daniel sent me a thing today of the freaking Weedman driving down the road.
I'll go with Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews, good guess. So let's see what answers we have. We have Cesar Blanco saying E, DJ going C, and yeah, dude. Daniel just loves seeing the comments, man. He comes in here just to see troll comments. He's like, man, that dude must be like doing, like getting all drunk and just texting all this stuff to our podcast. So where are you at, Adam?
I am going to copy Zizar Gordy Howie.
You are correct, and you have a perfect 5 in a row.
Yay.
Perfect score, Adam. Woo. You learned the perfect people to copy. Actually, Daniel was the funniest one on this one because April was when Alex Ovechkin took the first overall, passing Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky went to number 2. Gordie Howe went to number 3. And then I think Sid the Kid's like number 4 now. Or he's down there a little ways, I think.
Yeah, he's still a little down their ways, yeah, in terms of most goal scoring. I think where he does really good is like points, I think.
Yeah. But it was really awesome. You were correct on a topic that would get King James. Looked like he kind of studied his little like hockey facts maybe a little bit, and he just wanted to get you. He was like, man, I want King James's freaking. Now he's gonna put the Winnipeg Blue Bomber flag on his vehicle and do donuts around Winnipeg and get all fired up because he is the champ. And as always, I have the honorary pickle shot to cheers Adam with. So awesome. Thanks for coming. Means a lot, Adam. And like I say, always remember you. The first time I ever saw your stream, you just pounding out of that pickle jar, and I did not know what the hell you're doing. Then come to find out, it was Moss told you it was good or something.
Yeah, it was very good, very good. I don't remember what got me to start doing that. Maybe it was a dare, and then it just started as a dare, and then now it became a symbol of something.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah,
you see their stars, baby. Hey,
yeah.
I'll let you have the win. I'll just take the Stanley Cup.
There you go.
As a kid.
Hey, man, I said that whoever won the Colorado Dallas was gonna take the Stanley. That's what I said. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think the Avs really had enough depth anyway, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, they could have, but like I say, the Stars were pretty, fired up. So appreciate you hanging with us, Adam. You're welcome to hang out. You're welcome to stay, or you can bounce out. But as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again on the next Willie Quiz. Thanks for the intro, sir.
It's a pleasure.
See you later, brother.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.
All right, ready
All
for
right.
Tool of the Week?
Yes, sir.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Look, Cesar Blanco is saying that must be the best win that you and King James had was the win with the Stars. So,
Right,
yeah,
baby.
you can't win on the Willie Quiz if you can win on the Stars. So, that's cool.
I'll take
no,
the Stanley Cup over those wins any day.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this is a new tool that's coming out, and Milwaukee's like putting their hat in the ring with this backpack stuff. I actually really like the backpack. I use backpack. It's really nice because I can just kind of make it as light or heavy as I want depending on what I'm going to do for the day. I really like it for industrial projects because I could just toss it in the gator. We could just haul out to wherever I'm working, and then I could actually lock it up. It actually has a little thing where you can just lock it, and then nobody can like get in there while you're at break or whatever. So it's pretty cool. I really like. I was not a backpack guy to begin with. I didn't really like them. I thought they're stupid. But then I was like, I'd use like different kinds of things, and they seemed wonky. The thing I do like about this is it's Packout structured. And that's why I wanted to do this. I know I'm doing Milwaukee 2 weeks in a row, but I do like the Packout structure on it to where it'll just click right into that Packout. And you could roll this right out, and then you could like get your Packout. A lot of times what we do is we get our Packout like as close as we can with like all our power tools in it. Then we just put our hand tools in the backpack. Then we pack that to where we need to go. Like sometimes it's on the roof. And we'll get up on the roof with all our hand tools, do our stuff, and then we could just go down to our Packout, get our power tools and stuff, and then roll that out. And it seems to work really good. Like, I actually was not a fan of the Packout system initially. I didn't really like it. I thought it was really expensive, but it's getting really more affordable. They're having a lot of sales on the Packout stuff. And I actually think you could get a better Packout setup for Milwaukee than you could with any other brand out there. But DeWalt has them, and there is some cheaper knockoff ones that are similar to the Packout, but they just don't work with this kind of system. You could have this click right onto like the top of your thing, and then still click on an organizer on there, whatever you want. So that's what I really like about the Packout system. I think this is a really good addition, and I've actually seen this in action one time. The reason I'm doing this because I saw a guy have one, and I kind of had a chance to check it out and kind of give my rating. There was a lot of cool stuff I liked about it. So yeah, like I say, this was definitely a good tool. Really no drawbacks from it. It seemed like it was comparable to all the other ones, except it clicks into the Packout system, and you can roll it out with your Packout. So I thought that was kind of cool. You don't have to just carry it as a backpack. You could click it in with that. On the bottom it has those Packout click-ins, and you click it in the Packout, and you're gone. You're gone by dawn. Cool. You're on your 4-day weekend with your podcast and having a good weekend. So that's where we're at. So appreciate it. Like I say, I love you putting all these together. King James means a lot, and like I say, we have a lot of different guests that are gonna come on. I think he's trying to say like we're supposed to have like a schedule of all these CMP members that are supposed to join our podcast or something. But I mean, I don't blame them if they don't want to come on. I mean, I wouldn't want to come out and say how much I, didn't tell the truth about a certain thing. That'd probably be embarrassing.
I know all kinds of people. I can bring people on all the time. Who do you want me to bring on, Jeremy? I'll show you. I've got the reach. Is that what you think I can? Who do you want?
Yeah. I mean, I was telling we had Derek Bickstall on. We had Crystal Hunter.
You claimed you were coming on your show. What's he talking about? I have no freaking clue what he's saying.
Oh, he wants to come on again so he could get crushed again.
Well, I want somebody come on that actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Not
Obviously,
somebody that's a troll.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, like I was kind of talking about all these different things that we were having with the Manverse machine, and I was talking to some of the apprentices, and I'm like, okay, so let's just say you have a really hard test. What do? You go put it in ChatGPT, and you get all the right answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So let's do Manverse machine.
All right.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James.
All right.
Daniel, comment count's about to go parabolic.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
we got a weirdo on the.
All right, so
Podcast.
code question of the week number 105. The maximum size EMT shall be trade size blank. A, 3.5, B, 4 inch, C, 5 inch, D, 6 inch. There is no maximum size requirement for EMT. What do you got, King James?
Well, that changed in the 2023. I know this because we did the illustration on it, and it was 4 inch, but it's 6 inch now.
Yes, sir. Let's see if ChatGTP caught it. If man gets another win, or if
Get over there.
ChatGTP got educated by Nat King Code. I tried to educate it, and it got the wrong answer at first.
Pull it up a little
And
bit.
I told it was wrong. So let's see.
They got it.
Oh, boom! Nice. You get 2 right answers this week.
That's
awesome.
Great job, Chad.
It was outdated when I put it. It said 4 inch, and I was like, "Nah, you're wrong. There's a code change."
Yeah, so you got it right.
It was funny. There was one guy from the union, and he was all arguing. It's 4 inch, you dinguses. I got the PDF. I got the PDF right now. And it was funny. I was like, yeah, there's that good old union education there, Weed Man. You're one of your students. Nice.
There we go.
Love it. Yeah.
Always
Cool.
giving him a hard time back and forth.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, but, we're just educating that artificial intelligence, and who knows, maybe someday your students out there, you can trust that you'll get the correct answer with ChatGTP. So,
What is it
it's pretty
saying
cool.
there? I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, he's claiming that we were going to have a bunch of CMP members on. And the thing was that I really do want to get like Jerry Daniel on, or somebody from like Texas, or somebody like I could talk to some guys here in Colorado. See if
Well,
they want to
Jerry's
come on
not
here.
actually the chief anymore. It's Larry. I can get Larry on anytime.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I've got their personal numbers and everything. Jeremy,
Yeah.
I know a lot more people than you think, there, brother.
Yeah. He wants to have like a list of like when he could come on and like ask him questions that he doesn't know the answer to and stuff like that. So.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I can't have anybody from Texas because we're all nothing but a bunch of glorified ditch diggers.
Oh,
he
yeah,
wouldn't
you don't want to
listen
bring
to
that
us.
up. Don't want to bring that up.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, let's wrap this up. Get to the wall
All
of
right.
shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Dude, I knew you would love this when I saw it. I was like, oh man, this is right up King James's alley right here.
Let's see.
We have green phase conductors.
Yeah.
So, this is posted by Richard Clave, and it's funny because I actually saw this done in a school, and it actually had a sticker on there, which I was like, where'd you even get this sticker? But it had a sticker that said, "Caution: green wires are current carrying inside this panel board."
Wow. Well, I can say this. We had an older school, and they had some old wiring and stuff. And the green was actually the hot. I
Yeah.
actually have seen that before. So I remember we were getting there. I was like, the hell is this? I had to look here to see what was going on. And I was actually working for Lone Star Electric at the time. And I called Larry Stevens, and he goes, yeah. He goes, you got to be careful. He said, I should have told you before you went out there. He said that they did that around here a long time ago. He goes, that's old wiring. He goes, matter of fact, he goes, we got a bid they were going to take coming in that summer, and they were going to go in and do a lot of change out and everything. It was like a 2-year project. So
What do you think? You think that breaker's listed for 2 conductors?
no. No, I don't.
doubt it.
I don't think it is one bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything that to me that's listed for 2 conductors. But I just thought the green conductors. So thanks so much, Richard, for posting that on the Wall of Shame group.
Wow.
We go through and look at different stuff, and I pick them whenever I feel like it. Sometimes I forget them, and then King James picks one. So appreciate you keeping me on my toes a lot of times. So sometimes I don't do it. It's been rough, man. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff going on too. I got keep getting new guitars and keep like recording songs and stuff. So it's been pretty rough for me too. Working 40, 50 hours a week like I do, and trying to do the podcast is pretty rough. And I like arguing with the old weed man too. Okay, so check this out. This is a good one. You'll love this one, King James. So you keep going through all these jurisdictions. One of them is Colorado. They completely deleted 210.8F. It doesn't even exist in our code.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they just delete the HVAC part? Because I thought that was the only incompatible part. I thought everything else was compatible. Why'd they delete the whole reference without substitution?
There's no outlet.
That's what I'm saying. It's a win-win situation, and the whole thing is. So,
But we're the only 2 that think that, though.
Oh yeah. So yeah. When entire jurisdictions are deleting the whole entire section,
Mm-hmm.
The thing that just blew me away, cracked me up the most, is that not only they delete the whole section. I don't blame them, because wasn't it supposed to be compatible January 1st, 2023?
That's what they said.
And then all of a sudden it got extended to 2026. Well, what do you think is going to happen when all of a sudden the 2026 goes in? They're still pushing it. They're still not deleting it, and it's not even compatible then.
I said it wouldn't be even to 2029. I was right on that too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's really no list of anything that's absolutely 100% compatible with Class A device, and they knew it. They pushed it through.
Yeah, they knew. Dang right they
It
did.
is what it
They
is.
didn't have the technical merit to do it anyway. So
Well, now that's why we're gonna have a really in-depth coverage of 62554. My public input passed, and the thing that's so funny about it was I said, all right, well, if it passes, that means the outlet's installed. Dude, it was funny. King James saw it. It was so hilarious. I'm on my way home from work. He starts calling me up. He's like, dude, you got to check this out. There's a freaking public input. It's crazy as hell. And I start reading it. I'm like, dude, that's mine. He's like, what? That's yours.
Well, I didn't go back and look at there were 3 others submitted with that.
Uh-huh.
And then they did their own, wrote it the way they wanted to, but yours was on there. Yours was the main one, and then there were 2 under it. But that's where it come from. So
yeah, and so it's funny because it says, I was really just joking around about it, but it says, right now, 62554 says where receptacles are installed for connection of EBSE equipment shall be GFCI protected. Mm-hmm. And so all I did was I just added one word. I said receptacles and outlets must be GFCI protected where installed to supply EBSE. And like that's what you were tripping out on, because I keyed in on that. It says where outlets are installed.
Yeah. They have to be installed. It's not once you put the equipment in, that's a bunch of crap. That's what I say, Jeremy and them, they don't know what they're talking about. I can't even believe he's an instructor.
It's not just like there's an outlet just floating there waiting for utilization equipment to connect to it, you know, and then the reason why it gets so heated with the EBSE is if you want to take what their reasoning is and their whole narrative on it, the outlet is at the car. The outlet is inside the car. The transfer equipment is transferring from branch circuit to DC voltage to the outlet.
And the definition tells you that. They can't even argue that.
It's a point on the wiring system where current is taken to feed utilization equipment. The car is the utilization equipment.
That's right.
So the outlet is your plug where you're plugging your car in. And that totally blows them out of the water because they want it to be the line side of the EBSE.
Well, sure they do, because that goes with the rest of their false interpretations.
100%. But I really appreciate it, everyone joining. Thanks so much. You know, Jeremy Weed got about 87,000 comments in about 2 seconds. Cesar Blanco, thanks so much for joining. Thanks, Daniel J. Appreciate you jumping in. Thanks, Adam, for joining the quiz. Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Spencer, first time in, apprentice. I told him, come on in. He can learn some stuff. Awesome, Spencer. Thanks for showing up. And we also had John Weiss in, John Wall in here, John Wade in here. He's a union now, so congratulations on joining the union. And David Engelhart, thanks so much. Appreciate you, David Engelhart, for popping in, man. Means a lot, man. You guys make this show go, and it's awesome. We really appreciate always seeing the views keep going up every week, and our subscribers keep going up, and we just keep having fun doing them. And like I say, I got you this week on the Willie Quiz, man. And like I say, I'm gonna have to do something like you could pick the topic next week, and you'll have to like send me a message or something, let me know, and I'll do a topic on something. Maybe you could get them all right.
I can't do next week.
Okay.
Next week, I'm gonna be at my niece's wedding.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I leave Monday. I'm heading to New Orleans, and she's actually getting married. I don't even know why she's getting married on Thursday night. I guess because they wanted to have the whole weekend for, you know, the honeymoon and everything, because they're leaving the next day. So she's getting married on Thursday.
All right.
So I'm gonna have
Sounds good.
I meant to tell you. I don't know why I forgot. I did, just something you said. I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh wait, shit, I got to go to a wedding.
So we will have a Willie hangout next Thursday without King James, but like I say, like hit me up on social media if you want to come hang out. I'll send you the guest link. You can just come pop in. We'll just
I'll set up a podcast for y'all to do whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll probably just go over like memes or like installations or something. We'll figure out some kind of hack thing to check out. Whatever.
Okay.
We'll do something. We'll get something together. But hit me up like if you guys want to come on the show. Even if you're CMP members and you're not on the list, it's all good. You can still come and hang out.
All right, let's wrap her up.
So as always, remember, make every day an easy day. I'm out. See y'all next Thursday. Or I won't see you next Thursday. Bill will. 2 Thursdays.
Later.